Hey, welcome to Can't Talk Pedals. My name is Jordan Clayton. You may know me from Pinebox Customs. And joining me today is Andy Britton.
What's up? How's it going?
Andy is a longtime friend of mine. We've known each other for probably 15 years or so, in and out of the music scene here in Memphis. So, yeah, today we're going to be showing you Tall version 2 and just kind of doing a brief walkthrough of that and finding some sounds and having fun playing it. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
So you had Tall version 1.
I did.
And now you've had 24 hours with Tall version 2. So what do you think so far?
I like it so far. It is a little different. So it seems like a little less hot, I suppose. Like a little less gain on it, but I like it. It's a bit clearer. The controls are obviously outside of the box, which for someone who likes to tinker like I do, that part's excellent. But I like it. A little bit different of a pedal, but certainly not in a bad way.
Yeah. So for version 1, if you're familiar with the Wild series, they were all one knob like this one, and you had internal trimmer knob or trimmer pots to set various things on that circuit, bias, fuzz, tone. Just it had several things in it. So that was great for a while until I was running 3 or 4 Talls on my board at once. A lot of times to hit so many different sounds that I needed. I liked everything,
yeah,
but I'm not gonna pop the back off.
Right.
So for version 2, I put the controls on the outside, but made them like they're pretty small and they don't take up too much art. They're still kind of set it and forget it type of knobs in my opinion, but you have access to it now, so it's kind of fun. For the circuit differences, there's really not much. I'm using a different like voltage protection circuit and everything now that I wasn't last year, but that doesn't translate. Like you're not going to hear a difference in that. Some values have changed, so it'll just be ever so slightly different. But for the most part, it's the same Tall that you know and love, and you know, it's a fun one for me. You mentioned clarity, so for part of it, so there is like a low pass filter, and I adjusted a lot of values in that to bring out a little bit more like note separation.
Cool.
There are things with like specific fuzzes we've talked about quite a bit where it's just like one big. And so for Tall, what I like to use it for most of the time is not necessarily like the lighter side, but more like overdrivey stuff.
Right.
So I did work a little bit on that filter to, I guess, retain some of the higher frequencies.
Yeah, I think that's where this shines a lot. Precisely because it's still a fuzz, right? It's still got those characteristics, but like a lot more of your guitar signal sounds like it makes it through than a lot of fuzzes that I tend to play. So that part's great. Like I know you well enough to know that what you like about fuzz is overdrive. So this seems to fit that slot or possibly fit that slot on anyone's board.
Yes, it does. So we can get some sounds, and then I'll talk about my philosophy on the whole overdrive fuzz thing. I have a different approach to it. That, like, it's great if you're, like, I'm not an engineer.
Right.
So that means that I can, like, find happy mistakes, you know, or things like that, and take a different approach because I'm not educated.
Right. Yeah. I'm a big stupid dummy. So you're a
make things in kind of a more interesting way, or not interesting, but a different way. And really, a lot of times, it's not done by a lot of people.
Sure.
Who know more than me. So
that's how fuzz was created in the first place, right?
Yeah, that's true. So I'm running through a Supro Comet, and Andy's running through the new Pro Reverb amp. Let's see. I'm going to go for. excuse my poor playing, but that's pretty light. Like, it's like an overdrive, and I mean you can still crank it, but
yeah. How's it? What's your volume on right now?
So
on your guitar.
Full.
Okay, cool.
It'll clean up quite a bit. For me, maybe you're the same. I don't know. We talk about volume cleanup, and that's fantastic. If I can like tape my knob to
I
the
never
guitar.
do it.
I do it in a specific setting, but it's so impractical now. Like in a live setting, I don't play live, but in a live setting, how are you gonna get like back to the exact?
Oh no, I play live a fair amount, and I just don't do it. But I don't use fuzzes to clean up. I'm dumb in that way. I use it to sound big and loud.
And it's a fantastic sound, but I feel like I found a way to get that sound and not have to like use your guitar. You know, so full volume. The gain is about halfway up. Of course, single coil is like it's not going to be as hot. Yeah, I don't want to do the volume cleanup either. When you do that, you lose you lose something.
Yeah, I agree. I think we're in the minority, but I'm fine with that.
I think we're probably in the majority of like 30 years old or so. Like
sure, yeah.
For me, I would buy like a second pedal.
Yeah.
If you stack pedals, so like I can set that one up really clean. And then put something in front of it a little hotter, and when I need to cut back through like a chorus or a verse, I can clip it, and it's the exact same every time, and I'm not having to like fiddle.
Yep.
And if you swap guitars, like I recently got a Jazzmaster, and I was trying to do like the volume cleanup.
Yep.
And I was hitting the tone control, and I mean it's not as accurate.
I agree.
So, for the as far as the circuit is concerned, so pulling like an overdrive sound out of a fuzz is kind of, I guess, what I'm known for in a lot of ways. A cleaner, prettier fuzz in a lot of ways. And so how I do that without revealing any secrets.
Don't.
So because I don't know, I'm not like an educated engineer, and like people, I have to work the long way around to like make things work a lot of times. So I knew like early on, like I've stacked pedals for years. I have tried to find like different sounds and amps, like sticking amps behind each other, you know, and just things like that, and kind of making new sounds while combining stuff or with combining stuff versus like out of one thing. So I kind of put that into practice with a lot of circuits. So like Tall is closest to a tone bender, but it's really not. A purist will, that's not a tone bender.
Of course.
But the closest thing you can find to it is going to be a tone bender. So I can take like, let's say you take a tone bender and kind of have a fixed gain to be pretty low, you know, and a fixed volume to be pretty high.
Yeah.
And then you add gain stages, which is like a transistor or an op amp. So you add different gain stages within the pedal, and you can keep like a cleanup, but keep your volume maxed, and it just kind of it gives you an output like you would if it were hotter, but it's not quite the same, and that's how they're clear.
That's cool,
in my opinion.
I don't know anything about actual engineering. That makes enough sense to me.
The way that people will mostly go about it is everyone wants like the most amount of gain on tap for a pedal, because you can always roll it back, but you always want more, you know. So let me max out the gain that I can like within the circuit, and I do the same thing, but I do that on like the output stage.
Yeah.
So you're getting like the cleaner, more clear and articulate notes within that, and I'm not just trying to like max out
Sure.
the gain, and it can get hairy, especially if you like humbuckers or like a hotter amp. Like it can get pretty hairy, but I can still play like ambient stuff, and
Yep.
Any of my fuzzes will work in like an ambient setting or a clean setting, like on the edge of breakup sounds and things like that. For me, anyways, like if you're playing like a hotter rig, no.
Sure.
But if you're playing like the kind of stuff that I play, Fender amps and
Mhm.
single coil guitars, they will stay pretty clean.
Cool. So it's safe to say this is a fuzz, but there's a fair amount of restraint here too.
Yes. So there's 5 gain stages in this one, and the first 3 are basically like a clean boost. So
Cool.
like putting a clean boost into an output stage with like medium gain, and then a final stage that is another clean boost.
Yeah.
And like 2 kind of clean boost in one pedal sounds like stupid, really. Like, but if you remove it, it makes like all the
Yeah.
difference in the world.
It's about the sound, not the concept. So.
Yeah. Well, some people,
Well,
people get real into the circus stuff, but does it sound good?
Yeah.
That's and it does. And there's really the fuzz face is known for its cleanup.
Yeah.
And this circuit to me, like I've never heard a fuzz face as clear as that, or it kind of has like the Fender chime and
Yeah.
Hello.
Well, yeah, and like the thing everyone says about fuzz faces is it's not like a. I mean, I guess you could get a clear sound out of a fuzz face, but everyone just dimes those controls, right? Because that's how you get the fuzz sound. I mean, like that's yeah. So it's nice with this pedal that you don't have to dime it. You've got usable sounds all the way through.
Yeah. Fuzz faces are cool too. But
Yeah, I love those.
yeah, it's a little bit of a different flavor of fuzz. So yeah, you want to play through a little bit?
Yeah. So I have a different sort of. Wait, I don't know. I'm a Big Muff fan. So I use fuzzes to be big, hairy, and gross. So I need to be forced to play these more often to make sure that I can still play guitar and not just octaves. But yeah. That's cool. I'm gonna keep going. Yeah, I like that. You still get that sort of rumble that I want to use fuzzes for, but it sounds like more of my guitar signal is actually making it through.
Yeah. Whoever thought of transparent tones with fuzz?
Yeah, I know. Like there's the buzzword, but yeah, you did.
That's a good word. People get like butthurt about transparent.
Yeah, I mean,
come up with a better word.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like
everybody knows what you mean.
Exactly right.
So,
like I've got lots of rants in me about buzzwords and the reactions against them.
I mean, I'm happy to use another word, but that's the word.
Yeah, no, for sure.
That's what we know. So I have to talk about stacking these pedals. It's the greatest. Like it just so I have on my board version 2, and also have a version 1 just set to like a medium gain. Just because it's here. So you have your signal from the first one, and we'll get some sounds out of that, and then add in that second one. that's the hairy.
Yeah, for
sound.
sure. That
I don't know, it just sounds. To me, those stacks sound so huge.
Yeah.
And you can get that. You can get that out of anything. That's just my approach.
Or you
Maybe
buy two
I don't know.
buy two talls. That's fine.
Listen, I have this loyalty program.
Oh,
right.
That's right.
So you can technically do that pretty easy. Like,
Yeah.
if you buy enough, you can get a free tall and run 2. And everybody doesn't have that. I've run like 3 BD2s at one time.
Yeah.
For the same reason, and it's one of those things like everybody buys a bunch of pedals, and like you're excited when you're getting this pedal.
Yep.
You get the second one, it's like I've been through 30 loopers in the last 10 years.
That's right.
And the first looper I got, I was really stoked about.
Yeah.
And the most recent one is the coolest one I've ever had, and I got it, and I was like, yeah. Like, there's no rush to play it.
Right.
So the excitement's not there to buy like 2.
Yeah.
But the sounds you get when stacking those are just insane to me.
Mm-hmm.
To me, you know.
Yeah.
And tall, because it does clean up, that is my favorite pedal to run in front of anything.
Yeah.
So in front of overdrives, in front of other fuzzes, I've been using preamps quite a bit lately. And preamp, I don't know, that Noodles, it's a preamp, I think.
Yeah.
So preamps, putting that in front of it, like kind of lower down, like lower gain,
Yeah.
is pretty fun.
Cool.
So yeah. The controls are volume, bias, fuzz, and tone. So fuzz is like gain. Bias has a pretty small sweep. Like, it's not insane. We can run through it. I'm gonna cut the reverb just to.
Yeah.
So I have the bias kind of cold right. We'll run a little bit up from that. I can't do it. Let me run that. Like, that's a fun sound at times. It's not a huge range. Like, it goes pretty clear to kind of gated and just like sputtery. It never cuts out all the way. You know, like sometimes like you can like barely strum and no sound will come through.
Right.
It doesn't do that. Like a little bit of strumming and the signal will come through, but it's pretty sputtery.
Yeah, that's and the sort of set it and forget it mentality behind that. I mean, it makes sense, right? Like, so it's not really a lot of unusable sounds in the pedal, right?
Yeah,
like, you can get nasty with it, but if it's in like some sort of reasonable range, you're gonna get a similar sound.
There's unusable sounds for everybody in this pedal.
That's right.
Let's be honest. Like, the one I played on the end is not something I'm gonna play.
Sure.
Mostly, like I might play it sometimes, but that's not gonna be my range. But everybody can find like a place within that range to enjoy. In certain parts of a song, like if you're talking about in like the context of a full song or a recording or something, even those sounds that you don't use, you might use once, you know, and it fits that part perfectly.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not typically what you're gonna play.
Right. Like,
So the other thing with, well, we're talking about this pedal. The other thing with, sorry, I was checking the monitor. The other thing with fuzz that I think is fun, that is something that I just can't get enough of, is cold biasing. So
Okay.
typically with like a lot of classic fuzz circuits, which this one isn't really, but there's like a very specific bias point, and if it like is not biased at that point, either it doesn't work or people just don't enjoy it. Like 7 volts, 7.5 volts, things like that. So you can do a cold bias and run at like 3 volts.
Yeah.
And for one, usually, like at least with my stuff, you're gonna get more volume, a little more gain, and a lot more fuzz.
Okay.
So not necessarily more gain, but that like fuzzier, like a fuzz,
Sure.
you know, with a cold bias, and that is what I do with this, and it's got a
Nice.
fun sound. So yeah, with the tone, I think would be the only one. So that may need a further explanation. Did you
Okay.
mess with it a whole lot?
A little bit, yeah.
So the tone isn't. It's not something that you're just going to notice like a huge, like, oh, I
Right.
have all these lows now. You
Right.
know? So you're going to be hearing more high frequencies coming through at certain things. Anyone who like the louder things get or the more gainy things get, you typically lose your high end first.
Yep.
It's kind of, so you're going to have mids or lows. That's my take on it.
Okay.
That's like what I hear.
Sure.
Same with amps. Like if you crank an amp, I feel like
Yeah.
as you turn the volume up, you need to turn like the treble up.
Yeah.
Is that your experience?
For sure.
So with slight technical difficulties, we're back. I'm not sure what exactly we missed out on, but we were basically just talking about the loss of highs.
Yeah.
Like when your volume is cranked on the amp, and how I set the tone kind of in the middle ground. For me, I stick towards a bridge pickup. Sometimes, like on cleaner stuff in the middle, I don't really go to the neck anyways.
Yeah.
Might be a little dark.
Yeah.
In the neck pickup. But anyways, I set the tone pretty in the middle, so you can have that like set pretty easily, and then like how I would use it is like the louder I get or the more gain I add, I would crank the tone up and let like more highs through.
Cool. Yeah. That makes sense.
So it is a tone control, but it's not. Don't think of it as like your typical tone control, and just kind of experiment it with it. And it may be one of those things where even if you found like a sound that you really like, and you are playing like in a bedroom or something, and you take it on stage and like crank it, maybe fiddle with it like a little more, and you may find that when you're at volume, you can get a better sound out of it, which is typical with anything.
Yeah.
But I feel like a little more so with that style of tone control. So yeah.
Sounds right to me.
Anyways, if everyone buys 2 talls, then we can have a real discussion.
That's right.
You can do that now. You have 2?
I'll get 2.
I'm telling you,
Yeah, I'll do it.
it's the thing.
I'll do it.
It's the thing to do. Really good in front of it. I always talk about the BD2. Fantastic. Fantastic. So the BD2, when you roll up the treble, gets shrilly.
Yeah.
You know.
Yep.
And I know why they did that. They did that basically like it gets really muddy when it's cranked.
Right.
Because there's a lot of gain on that pedal. Like people kind of forget about it. There's a lot of gain there, and it gets shrilly, but you need that high end to be there. Just not that kind of high end.
Right. Right.
And so a lot of times I will put that in front of it, very low gain, and it brings back the high end without like adding too much.
Yeah.
So it's kind of fun way to use it.
So when I get home, do I run version 1 into version 2 or vice versa?
I would run version 1 into version 2 only
Yeah.
because you have the flexibility.
Right. Right.
I will likely be running 3 now.
That's right.
So like,
You got to give yourself a free pedal then.
yeah, well, I have basically if someone has like a return or something like that.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll sell blims.
Yeah.
But sometimes I really want them, but I have to sell it. Like I have to make money to live.
Right.
So I can't keep everything. And if one makes its way back to me, it was meant to be.
That's
so,
right.
Like,
that's right.
it goes on my shelf, and I'll use it for
That's
myself.
Right. There's some Wayne's World joke here, but
I haven't seen Wayne's World.
oh no, dude.
I know. I mean, I know enough of it. I've seen like.
No, you
stuff-
don't know it. You don't know enough.
But I've
You
never
got-
seen it,
You,
no.
you gotta see it.
I'm not a movie. Like old movies are that like old news.
Oh no.
You know?
Oh, you're not like that.
No, I'm.
Oh, you are like that.
I'm usually looking at an old movie and like this is really shitty quality, and it drives me insane.
We gotta watch Wayne's World.
Or like, there's, I like some crude humor.
Yeah.
Not like sexual reference crude, but like, people cuss and stuff, and like I feel like they're too edited
Yeah.
back in the day. And so this joke would be so much funnier if you like dropped the F-bomb here.
Right.
You can't do that on TV then, so you didn't do it.
Sure.
And, I see stuff like that and it just kind of drives me crazy.
You still gotta see Wayne's World.
Yeah, I'll watch it. My wife is all about like old movies and
Well, movies are good, dude.
I'm
I'm
usually
gonna
just-
work on you here.
running, like leaving the room, not watching it. If it was made, there's a few good old movies, like Gladiator's an old movie.
That is not an old movie.
That's an old
dude.
movie.
That's not an old movie.
I just turned 30. Like I've had that movie around my whole life. That's an old movie.
Yeah.
So like, when you're talking about like, I tried to watch Ghostbusters recently
Oh yeah.
because I keep hearing about Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
And I rented it, so I paid for it.
Yeah.
Paid for it. Like
Yeah.
my whole $3 I paid for this, and I cut it off like 20 minutes in because I just couldn't do it.
I actually won't. I'm not one of the ones that'll go back to bat for Ghostbusters, but you need to watch. Like, as far as I'm concerned, Vertigo is the best movie ever made. You
I
need to
don't know
watch.
what that is.
It's
Vertigo.
an old Hitchcock movie.
Don't know who Hitchcock is.
Alfred Hitchcock? Really? You're an art guy. You should like it. It's good.
Stereotype. I feel like I know the name.
Alfred Hitchcock.
Hitchcock.
The Birds, Rear Window.
Oh, I know Birds.
Yeah.
I've never seen
heard
it.
of them.
I've seen it. I've seen like clips on TV when I was a kid, and it was
Right.
hilarious. Like I remember being, like they're in a car or something,
Yeah.
in like a field, maybe on either
Mhm.
side.
Yep.
And they're swarming.
Yep.
I've at least seen that part.
Yeah. Well then, seen a little bit of Hitchcock.
Okay. Well, there you go.
Look at that.
So yeah. Do you have anything to add?
I don't think so. I think this is a really useful pedal, and I think it's really going to shine in stacking for me, because it's already a series of boosts.
Yeah.
I can use that with a lot of with a setup that I'm already like very close to. So I'm very excited to experiment with that.
Yeah. Fuzz boost.
Fuzz boost
That needs to be a thing.
for sure. You should note for marketing.
It kind. I mean, it is that a thing? A lot of people hit fuzz with a boost.
They hit fuzz with a boost.
A lot of
but they
people
don't
use a preamp.
fuzz as boost, do they?
No, I mean I don't know, but like in your world, so Andy plays. Is it death metal? You would call it?
No. I
Okay.
play like slow, doom adjacent stuff.
Okay.
Whatever.
We don't know what that is. He knows what it is. I don't know. He
It's slow and loud and use octaves and reverb.
It's the exact opposite of pop punk.
That's sure.
So that's how we can think of. So I know in your world, high gain amps are a thing, right?
Well, in my world, it's actually kind of tricky. A lot of people, more people use clean amps. In a lot of
Really?
pedals. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay.
A lot of people like for instance a big amp like for instance Ampeg V4s are a big thing.
Okay.
V4s, people use Bassmans. Yeah, basically a lot. I mean, even like Model Ts. Like Model Ts are a lot cleaner than people give them credit for.
I've never played one.
Well, yeah. I mean, so the Doom amp is like a Model T, or
Uh-huh.
sometimes I don't want to get off on too big of a
Really?
tangent. But people use clean amps. Just run them into the ground.
Okay. So that's interesting. So
But they use high gain amps too. So
I would have assumed higher gain amps because like when I hear that kind of stuff, it's like a huge thick wall of sound. Like
right.
as thick as you can possibly make this
Mhm.
signal. That's kind of what they do. So
Yeah.
then you probably do like stack a lot of pedals.
Yep, I
at
do.
a time. Okay,
I do.
that is helpful then. So so then this pedal would not hit your final. Like you would have to stack it.
Sure. Yeah.
Right.
I would.
I don't think there'd be enough like gain on tap.
Probably not. But I'm stacking stuff already. Like
Yeah.
like a lot of like so I play the Fever Dream a lot, and I don't use that alone because it gets like for the stuff that I'm doing, it gets a little bit too. It needs like something to punch it to make it a little clearer for some parts. So I'll use a preamp.
Okay.
Paired with that, but I could use Tall in conjunction, maybe not with the Fever Dream, but with some other drives I'm running, and I'd imagine with some success.
Yeah,
I should. People do play high gain amps and the kind of thing that I do, but not as much as you might imagine.
Well,
People are gonna roast me for that, but
I feel like I see. When I see like because I'm semi buddies with Fuzzlord.
right. Well, so that amp he does or that he builds, that's a clean amp, right?
Is it a JTM 45? I think.
I forgot. I don't. I know some of his pedals. I know he builds amp. This is horrible. Sorry, Fuzzlord.
Yeah, I don't. He doesn't watch everything I do, so
Sure.
we don't have to know everything he does.
Right. I know he builds. It's like a something 45, but I thought it was a fairly clean amp that takes fuzzes very well.
I feel like I see solid state utilized a lot more in that world.
Yeah, you have like the Melvins.
It's more just stuff that I'm not familiar with. Like I'm not that familiar with orange amps.
Yep.
I love the way they look.
Yep.
I'm not that familiar with like Ampeg.
Sure.
Not familiar with Sun stuff.
Yeah.
So it's just stuff that I don't like see a whole lot.
No, fair enough.
It's a huge market though.
It really is, especially recently. Like people like Fuzzlord, Earthquaker's doing a lot of stuff like that too.
Yeah.
Like, but point being, I could use this.
Yeah, cool. Well, all right. Then I think that's it on Tall. We will be releasing, we meaning me, Andy doesn't work for me yet.
Yeah.
So Tall version 2 will be released on March 11th. I am working, that's 2021 of course, I am working on getting it to a few dealers around. It's a smaller batch. I don't know how many will make it to dealers, but I know I have a few dealer orders now. Nothing international. So, yeah, March 11th, and we'll probably release this video on that day. So this is like doing you no good for me to tell you this now. But yeah,
it's out.
The first run is relatively small, and it will be available on March 11th. And then the following, this part is informative. The following 3 Fridays, so I don't know the dates, but
sure.
March 11th is a Friday. The following Friday will be deep, and then far, and then wide on the following Friday until we get through all 4. So you'll have a month of like new releases from me, and I will not be showing these till day of.
Cool.
I never do that. I always show them early. I'm not doing it with these. I'm too excited about them. Tall is probably the most tamed down artwork. Yeah. The rest of them are really a pretty new look for me, so I'm going to kind of hold out on that. But anyways, subscribe to Pinebox Customs, of course, on YouTube. Can't Talk Pedals on YouTube. You have not set up your...
I have not. I'm
okay.
lazy.
So essentially, we can do like a little bit of housekeeping here. We will be doing a walkthrough of pedals and just kind of talking like we did today on a specific pedal. And then we will also both be doing a demo on separate channels. I'm not doing a typical demo like walkthrough. I'm going to record a song with it, only using that really, and that's it. Like you're not going to hear me talk in my demo.
I'm likely going to do the same thing. But.
And so you'll have a demo from 2 pretty different styles of playing, and then we'll do like a more broad talk through here, and you may be doing some other stuff down the road.
We'll see. Yeah, we'll see how this goes. I'm very new to. I love writing music, so that's honestly the big pull. So I want to have an opportunity to write around some pedals. So
well, when his YouTube is set up, we will of course link everything in the description. And until next time,
take care.